Okay, let's continue on with the forage grid. Notice here, this is the way we set it up when we set up John and Jane Doe's case study with we called it JJD forage, and there's only one crop, alfalfa brome. And the first thing we need to do, as in most of the cases, is put in the beginning inventory. So first of all, we have 100 bales, 100, and the units we're going to call bales in this case. How many pounds per unit, or in this case pounds per bale? Well, they were 1,400 pounds. And the price per unit, price per bale, was $70. Now, do you notice as soon as I typed in the pounds per unit, we got bales all the way down and the same weight all the way down. You can change that if you want, but probably in most cases you'd leave it as is. So the next line is production. So how many bales were produced? So in this case, there were 410 bales produced. How many were sold? There were 150 bales sold. And then we get to the transfers out again. So we double click on the transfer box. And here we get the total number of units that were transferred out, or in this case fed to the livestock. And there were 300 bales fed. Units and pounds per unit stay the same. Price per unit, in our case, we're going to leave the same. It's $70. And then we start to talk now some more about allocations. And we'll do this probably at the last, but we're obviously going to have to allocate this hay out to either the cow-calf or the feeders. So we're done with that. And now the only thing we have to look at now is the ending inventory. There should be 60 left if we've done our numbers right. And our information tells us, yes, there's 60 left. They're at 1,400 pounds, and we do need to remember to price them because they might have deteriorated over the year, but in this case, we're going to leave them at the same price. So 70. So that then is the forage grid. Now the grain and the straw grids are exactly the same. They work exactly the same as the forage grid. So I'm not gonna work on those. But the pasture and aftermath are exactly the same, and so we'll treat those together. The pasture and the aftermath enterprises are probably the only ones that don't have any inventories. So we'll look at our pasture information, and the first entry I have is 100 cows grazed the home quarter. So I'm going to put home quarter. There were 100 cows. The animal unit equivalent we're going to leave as 1. How many days did they graze? Well, my information says 60 days. And that calculates the total animal unit months and how many dollars per animal unit. And we have it here as $30. And so forth. We go on from there. The next one is almost the same thing. So if we went to aftermath, we'd have the very same kind of entry. In this case, there were some chaff piles, and the number of units were 100 cows, 1 animal unit per cow, and the number of days was 30 days. But in this case, we feel that the price is probably down to $20. Again, here's the allocations that we'll look after at the end of the process. So that is the way you deal with forage and grain and straw, which are exactly the same as the forage grid, and then pasture and aftermath, which are exactly the same here. Next, we'll talk about the other enterprise.